Hello and welcome to the Robbies Podcast, your destination for in-depth discussion and analysis of the Premier League. I'm Robbie Mustoe, he's Robbie Earle, and here are today's topics. Arsenal's masterful set pieces proved to be the difference in a 2-1 win against Chelsea, who capitulate with another red card. Antoine Semenyo gets his fourth goal in the Man City shirt as Pep Guardiola's men come up with a 1-0 win at Leeds United, and Spurs enter serious relegation threat after a 2-1 loss to Fulham that leaves a lot to be desired from Igor Tudor's side. That and more coming up in today's episode.
Well, Mr. Mustoe, we have to start with the big game of the weekend at the Emirates, the big London derby, only North London derby from last week. Arsenal hosting Chelsea, needing the win to keep the 5-point gap on Manchester City, who did their business earlier, 24 hours earlier at Leeds. Difficult place to go to Allen Road, and City got the win. Give me your view on the game, Rob, and how Arsenal got this victory. 2 goals from corner kicks again. Whether some will criticise or not, it's a way to win a game, and Arsenal do it as well as anybody. But they got the 3 points. It was a hard-fought victory, made easier when Chelsea went down to 10 men. Give us your big picture thoughts.
Yeah, I tell you what, mate. My thoughts are exactly the same as Arsenal as before this game. I think we've got confirmation, and we'll get to Chelsea, of both of these sides where they're at. And where Arsenal are at right now is, and for a few weeks, their football, their creativity, their possession, their dominance isn't great, right? And they, the particularly in the final third, their build-up play is not as good as it has been in previous seasons. I'm seeing that with my bare eyes. On the positive side of it, their set pieces are incredible. They're awesome. They're formidable. They're like unstoppable, it seems like. And that, with their physical power, prowess, the defensive side of things, is brilliant. And that's getting the results right now. I think that's kind of what we're seeing. And the other thing we saw it again today, Rob, is that when they're ahead, late in games, they're not keeping the ball. We spoke about this after our podcast, Rob, after the Wolves game, where they're ahead, and just keep it. Keep the ball, keep possession, take Chelsea away from it. Chelsea still had the ball. I'm in the studio with one of our crews and Arsenal fans. I'm just shouting out, keep the ball, Arsenal, keep it. Just keep the ball. And they couldn't. They hit the ball long one time. Chelsea had it again. They throw people forward. They're throwing balls into the box. David Raya's got to make saves. It's like there should not be this drama when you've got an extra man, you're 2-1 up. So that's where I'm at with Arsenal. I mean, the physical side of it, defensive side of it, and the corner kicks, it's enough right now. But, if City keep doing what they're doing, Arsenal have got to show us more of what they were like against Tottenham, and less of the nervy, the manager afterwards, Rob, Mikel Arteta, talked about their mentality, right? And these interviews are always a manager's opportunity for I'm so proud of the players. Mentally we're so strong and tough. And no, not when you need to keep the ball. That's not being strong mentally. Get on it. Take it away from Chelsea. You've got you at home. You've got an extra man. So that would concern me. Of course, the win is imperative, and more set pieces. But I just, for a champion team, Rob, I'm still interested. I just got off air and quick looked online. I think it was Yaya Toure was in the Sky studio and was talking studio, I just want to see a bit more quality from Arsenal, and I thought, I kind of feel that as well. Am I being harsh there, Rob? Throwing it back to you, what do you think on that?
I don't totally disagree, although I think a few weeks ago I didn't think Arsenal were playing that great and they won a game, and I sort of said, it's not quite at the top level. I don't think they've played the kind of fluent, progressive, that lovely
pleasing on the
football
eye.
That we've seen. Now, Odegaard missing is a big part of that, Rob, because he accepts the ball and takes the ball in different areas and joins things up. Yeah. What I would say today was I thought they won a game with their power. Their power from having to defend, the power from their set pieces. I thought at times they went back to front quite quickly. A couple of times gave Gyökeres opportunities, but as you say, ended up at times giving the ball away to the opposition, which isn't normal Arsenal play. Now, I don't know if that's them being a bit fatigued. I don't know if that's them getting a little bit nervous. I thought right at the very end of the game, when normally we've seen Arteta with his coaches, and I thought the blowout of his cheeks, like the puff of his cheeks, kind of summed up like that was probably a little bit more difficult than we thought. Now, it is against Chelsea. It's a Chelsea team that have got dangers. It's a Chelsea team that have got a smart coach, are well set up, and have got top-class players. We'll come to Chelsea in a minute. So, eventually they've got over the hurdle. And when you think from was it 10 days ago or something, they drew at Wolves, and then they had the North London derby in this game. It's 2 wins, not great and not perfect in terms of the football, not perfect in terms of the control that we've known from Arsenal, but if they've got to do it slightly uglier, Rob, to get over the line,
can they keep
if
doing
that's
that,
what
Rob?
it takes.
Can they keep? Can they win this title ugly?
That's the point. They've got to do 9 more. They've got to do that 9 more times, haven't they?
Yeah.
9 more times, and they will. And maybe I thought I heard Arteta say something that I thought was really interesting, Rob. And I know we had a call, which I want to come back to you during the week, where he said, we're the most experienced running team in the league. Like, we know what it's been. We've been doing it for a long time. Almost like suggesting that they should take a confidence from knowing that sometimes you've just got to get the 3 points.
Yeah.
And maybe that was one of those days today. And that's maybe our learning from other times when we try to play too much football, try to look too good on the eye, and we've lost or drawn games.
Yeah, it's a fair point. And I'm sure some Arsenal fans, I hope, would kind of see where us coming from, Rob, with this. We expect a little more. And I'm sure there's a bunch of them that are like, who cares? Like, who cares how we do this? And the set pieces, as we said many times, Rob, the corner kicks, are like having a striker. It's like having a striker that's going to get you almost 20 goals. So what is it, 15 or 16?
Yeah.
I mean,
16 goals from corner kicks.
So, I mean, that is a huge asset of the team. And maybe that's more important than looking pretty and creating a lot more in open play, which they haven't done. I mean, they did in the Spurs game, for example. So, yeah, I mean, there's 2 ways of looking at it. I'm just saying how I look at it, how I saw it today, and I've watched every blimmin' Arsenal game this season, pretty much, I'm sure. And like you said, Rob, remember a couple of years ago, we were at the Emirates, and it might even be 3 years ago, and this is when the team was just starting, and they're zipping the ball around. And I remember sitting there and being on our segment on our show, and like, wow, Arsenal are good. Seeing them close up, the way they're moving the ball, it's just that hasn't quite been the same.
It feels like the season, Rob, and we'll talk. Obviously, going to talk City later. That it's a bit been like everybody's had their, an Arsenal phase of great football. Then it's dropped off. They had the few defeats, and then Man City's a bit similar now. Their football's picked up again after their pace. With 9 games to go, which is still a lot of games and a lot of points, could they play themselves back into form as we're ending, you know what I mean, and the football come with 1 or 2 people back?
I don't think so, mate. I think this is it now. I think you're going to get a game, the odd game like Tottenham, where they really click, right, and players get the goals and they take great finishes But I think you're going to get more of this. And for Arsenal fans, get ready, because I think that's what's going to be. There's going to be tight games that you might need set pieces again to get all 3 points. Sometimes you're risking that dropping points if your football isn't good and secure. But I think that's the way we've had 29 games from Arsenal, Rob. I don't think too much is going to change. There's going to be some good ones. There's going to be some ones that are tough to watch. Ultimately, it's about getting all 3 points. And Man City, we'll talk about in a second. Can they keep winning? If they keep, they're kind of different. They're so different to Arsenal. If they keep silky football, creating a bunch, scoring loads of goals, and figure it out defensively, then that's going to be a problem for Arsenal. If they're a little bit hit and miss, then Arsenal could do it in this manner.
So in that way, and I know we'll move on after this. Yeah. So does this now? Is this Mikel Arteta's time? Is this the time we find out? Is this 9 games? Him steering Arsenal to a title? They're in pole position. They got 5-point gap. You'd still be rather them than Man City because they're more in charge. Is this now the season? Is this now him showing us after 6 years of this development and building and finishing second so many times? Is this now the crunch time?
Well, look, defining, is that a better word, Rob? Is this a defining period for Mikel Arteta? And I think it is, because if he feels like this kind of groove they're in, let's say, of like we just talked about, like not playing but winning games and grinding and being tough physically. If that proves to be enough, then well done, Mikel Arteta. Well done. Yeah. You knew about being consistent, about being defensively strong. If City, as we said, if they can win, if they blow teams away and they go on a charge now, winning maybe every game, and Arsenal lose it, then you got it wrong, Mikel. And there'll be criticism that you won't. You didn't address the attacking kind of impetus, the focus on being better with the ball, creating more opportunities and open space. If they lose it, there'll be criticism. And there's plenty of people out there that want to criticise Mikel Arteta and how he's handling this fantastic squad of players. So that's it. That's this. There's in a nutshell. And it all comes down to very simple: if they win it or they don't win it. And Arteta will get a ton of praise for that pragmatic, physical, set pieces style, or get criticised for not being a better footballing team that score more goals.
Well, and that's going to be the great thing about this run-in now with those 9 games, and obviously that big game when Arsenal face City could be title deciding. Let's move to Chelsea because
before we move to I kind of do it a little bit differently. So underappreciated performer. I'm going to chuck another one in later on, which I was going to do underappreciated. It's kind of one to watch, and I'll get to him later on, a younger player. I just don't know whether we appreciate David Raya enough, Rob. David Raya, the Arsenal goalkeeper. I mean, maybe it's a little weak, and people out say, well, he's plenty appreciated. And I think people know he's an excellent goalkeeper, but is he even better than that, Rob? Is he like? Is it hard to think of others? And we don't watch every European team and the best goalkeepers around the world, but his form right now, his ability to spring across that goal, makes a brilliant save late on from that set piece or that ball that was crossed in there. He just does not want to get beaten. He's good on his distribution. His side kicks the ball wherever he wants to. I mean, I just think he is really an important part of this, and I don't know whether he's better than what we all make out, Rob. So I'm not sure.
I'd agree, actually. I think comes up with big moments. You know, the one when it's come off. You know, the flick, and he's had to get his hand there, and he's understated, Rob, in many ways. You know, I think he's got the most clean sheets in the league. Comes up with big moments when his team have struggled a little bit defensively when things haven't gone as well as they did at the start. And he's one that I don't think, if you were to say, name me the top 3 keepers in the league, I'm not sure people would have him in their top 3.
Yeah, but they should, mate. They should, shouldn't they?
But,
he's exceptional, isn't he? I think he's exceptional.
Yeah, and he gets on with the job. And it's really interesting because I'm going to go to Chelsea, mate. Right. And I'm going to go a bit strong on Chelsea because I've been starting to get a little bit frustrated. And, you know, Liam Massini's come in. Despite some people not liking how he is in the media, I think in terms of his football and how he's worked, he's done a good job. He's settled reasonably well. The 3 defeats have all come to Chelsea, 2 in the Arsenal. League Cup. To Arsenal in this one today. And if Chelsea have got ambitions, Rob, of growing, if Chelsea have got ambitions of becoming a team that can play in these big games and come out winners, then for me, these 3 things that have to happen at this football club, and Liam Massini might have to stop being, or publicly being so friendly with the players and patting them on the back and not wanting to. Now and then he might have to name 1 or 2. He might have to public name 1 or 2. So let me tell you about the discipline of this football club. It's going to stop them winning things. Because if this is a Champions League semi-final, if this is a cup final, you cannot trust your players who get on yellow cards. 9 red cards this season, 7 of them in the Premier League, is far too many. And that's something that has to be addressed. When a player's on a yellow card in Chelsea's team, he has no responsibility about what he does next. Within 3 minutes, Pedro Neto's had descent, a yellow card, and then makes an incredibly rash challenge that has no benefit to him, his team, or the fans. So discipline. The second point is goalkeeper. And for 3 years, I've been saying about this guy, he's not good enough. He's not a top 6 goalkeeper. You've just talked about a guy at the other end who comes up with big moments when you need it. This guy, Rob, for half an hour, looked the most nervous player I've ever playing out the back, causing his team problems against a young defence who's got a young kid making his debut. We'll continue to have this position with Chelsea about being a big 6 club and winning things with Robert Sanchez in goal. He is not a big 6, top of the league goalkeeper. And then the third thing I want to touch on, my friend, is about the age. Well, they're a young team. Well, they're a young team. Well, they're a young team. Let me tell you about a young team. A young team eventually has to grow up. We were saying they're a young team 2 years ago.
Yep.
That's 75 games ago. That's at some point, Rob. You know, when Fofana's getting sent off, he's not a kid.
And
when
Neto's getting I know they're not kids.
Sent off, they're not kids. So this like, oh, it's about the age, or we're inexperienced. Liam Messina has to make these players understand. If you're playing for Chelsea Football Club, that comes with a certain amount of accountability that you have to stand up and be counted for. And if you're not prepared to take that on, or you're too young, inverted commas, then do you know what? Go and find some experienced players.
Like it, Earle. I like a fired up Robbie Earle. Yeah, I mean, and I'm with you. I mean, to be fair, Lino Rossigna, Rob, I looked at his interview and he was angry, right? And he talked about the discipline thing, and he said it's nothing we don't know about. And he said, you know, we've tried to address it. I'm not crazy. I know this is an important part of it, and he's tried to address it. But you know, your point you make about calling people out or something to rattle, to change to move the needle on this, because he's got to move the needle on it. I totally agree with everything that you said, and also what I said on the show, Rob, is like that's obvious. The set pieces, only West Ham have conceded more goals from set pieces, Rob, than Chelsea, right? And that was a big call, by the way, to play Mamadou Sarr, right? First Premier League start ever, and Gerald Hatto. I'm not saying that they had awful bad games.
No, they didn't.
I think Sarr might have been marking for one of those set pieces. I mean, all that being said, right, the positive is that they play good football. This is how the pattern went.
They gave him a good game.
This is how This is how the pattern went. Difficult start. Chelsea start to find the groove, right? I'm like, I'm so pleased that he went with an expansive type of game. There was a sense and rumours that he might go defensive again. I'm like, oh, don't do that. Let's see where Chelsea really are. And their football's really good. Slapped down once by an Arsenal corner kick, right? So good football pattern. Slap down. They get one back. 1-1. Second half. Oh, here they go, Chelsea. Start to control things. They had more possession. They're looking good again. Looks awkward for Arsenal. Slapped down by another Arsenal set piece. So, you know, my comments on Chelsea, and that's why I was so excited about this game, is like, I'm going to know where they're at, right? Because there's not many injuries for both teams. They've had a week of prep, both teams, to get this ready. We're going to see where they're at. And the fact that we're saying the same things about Arsenal and exactly the same things about Chelsea is disappointing to me, because I think Chelsea, and I might be wrong on this, I might be getting it wrong, I still think they're not far off being a really good side. 19 points they've lost from winning positions, Rob. 9.
Absolutely.
And that's a lot of points they could have.
If you half that, Rob, we're in a whole different situation.
Yeah, a whole different situation. So that's where they're at. Your rant is what I feel too, but I'm realising there's some good players there, and some of the football's really good to go to Arsenal and have periods. But if they don't figure out the red cards, they don't figure out to be tougher, strong, physically, defensively, and you're right with the goalkeeper. You know, I feel like he's had a decent season, Rob.
Too much now, mate. Too much. Remember Simon Mignolet at Liverpool?
Yeah.
Same situation. Every now and then he'd let you down. You go and get Alisson. Done.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Yeah. But it's fascinating, wasn't it? I mean,
it was, and they played well, Robin, and they're close, Chelsea. They're close to making that next step.
Yeah, they are.
But they've got to stop. They've got to stop. Get those excuses out. They've got to stop the excuses.
It's just, how's he going to do it, Rob? Like, how's he going to do it? That's the interesting thing.
Well, this is where maybe more. Well, I haven't said that. More experienced managers haven't necessarily done it, but he's got to find a way, Rob. This is why he's got the job. Yeah. This is what the step up is to this level. Because it looks like, in fairness, his tactical stuff and his football looks good. Looks like he can create things. He can cause teams problems. Yeah. Those basic things that he's got to get right. That his team, they've got to mature this group, because if they do, as you say, they've got a chance.
Yeah. All right, next up, my friend, Leeds United. Leeds 0. Manchester City 1. Anton Semenyo. Yeah. It's a great goal, Rob. It was born out of the new players. It was Ryan Shirky's key ball. Great ball in behind. I mean, their attack looks champion-like most of the time right now. Through ball to Ryan Aït-Nouri, another new player. Cross the ball to Anton Semenyo, who taps it in, slides it in. a really nice goal. They're hanging on a little bit, but that's a good result, Rob, isn't it? Ellen
Brilliant
Road,
result.
under the lights. I did 25 games without loss under the lights at Ellen Road for Leeds. And Man City got the job done with some good football. And even without Earle and Haaland. What did you think? Do you see all this one? What do you think to this one?
Yeah, same thing. Without Haaland, I'm looking at Leeds. Leeds has become the new Stoke City. You know, can you play at Stoke on a Tuesday night? Like, can you play at Leeds on a Saturday night? Atmosphere, weather, stadium, difficult to play against. City go and do it. Their football, at times, it is still incisive. They can find those little spots in behind, and it's done more centrally, Rob, now. The width isn't so much with those wingers who are driving on there. You know, he dominates in those areas. Semenyo. I kind of point to two players, Rob, who I think have made an incredible difference to this team. Is Mark Gay at the back. Serious, proper defender who, you know, looks like there's a partnership with Diaz, who just wants to defend, mate, just wants to stop things going into the back. And that when, you know, early in the season we said defensively City don't look as great. It's starting to look better. And then at the top end, Semenyo's just been an absolute diamond for him. You know, whether Haaland's had great days or Haaland's off or Haaland's not playing, you know, comes up, as you say, with the three new players who come in the team, gets important goals that have either get you wins or, you know, get you the first goal in the game to ease things up. I just feel as though, like, it was a City win, a game that was a bit like the Newcastle win, wasn't born out of their great, fluid, controlled football. I think they played some nice stuff at times, but I thought, Rob, they dug in. God. And I mention him every week, and little Bernardo Silva, by the way.
I know.
Mate, is incredible. I see him chasing down the goalkeeper, and the game plays to the fullback. He's running after the fullback, and I heard him say today that he feels like he's part Mancunian. That's what it's done to him, this football club. Yeah. I mean, what a star he is. Whether he's playing sort of next to Rodri, or he drifts out to the right, or now and then he comes between the two centre backs. Yep. I mean, he's just an incredible talent. And when you talk about strength, Rob, strength of character, have the ball wherever the situation, you know, get the team going. I just, you know, I can't speak highly enough of him and his role. And, you know, there's talk that this might be his last season and he's going to leave at the end of the season. What a mark he's made on the football club. But no, I just thought another sort of quietly impressive day by City. More to come, you think, in the future. And I was kind of thinking as well, Robbie, I've just wrote it down to make sure you remind me that, you know, 22nd of March, Sunday, we've got a really interesting game coming up when Arsenal are going to face Manchester City in the Carabao Cup.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And isn't, with all that's going on in the league and the possible Champions League and all that, isn't that going to be a little sort of interesting fixture for those two teams?
Yeah, to see what then transpires. Or what the vibe will be with these two clubs going into our Tampa Bay Fan Fest.
If one wins, does that give you the confidence to go on and stride on? If one loses, does that feel you're going to go away? Kind of feel like it feels bigger for Arsenal than City for me, Rob.
Yeah. I just want to go back on something, Rob, where I slightly disagree, right? You sort of said it wasn't the silky football that won in the game.
Yeah.
This is how I saw it. Leeds United, as you'd expect, high press.
Yeah.
Really made it difficult and uncomfortable for Man City. And they tried to play out, right? And it didn't work very well because Leeds United are absolutely fired up.
Yeah, man on man, yeah.
And it's high press and it was difficult. But what did City do with the likes of Burnley Silva? And they keep trying to play. And after a period of like probably 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, then the football starts to happen. And then Leeds United and then all of a sudden, Man City take the sting out of that press, okay? So that's the first thing that Pep kind of talked about it afterwards a little bit, about football and possession. It's kind of nice to have it. So they then start to control a little bit more passing, Rob, and start to nullify that press. And then what's the next part of that? Once you've got your control possession, penetration. Then we see the goal, the ball from Ryan Jerky. They have possession. Okay, now it's time to start to play forward and create something. They score the goal. It's, you know, and it's Pep's way, right? And sometimes he's criticised, well, about maybe overplaying and it's tiki-taka and everything else. But I tell you what, I'm looking at it thinking, it's kind of nice when you have the ball. And Leeds United are going to get tired of pressing because they were so good in the first 20 minutes. So I just think, when you said it wasn't I think it kind of was the football philosophy that wore Leeds down, got them into the game, and then they hit the penetration, got those front players going, and they win the game. Holding on a little bit at the end, they couldn't do it late on. The second wave of pressing when Leeds were trying to... But I just thought, and back to your Mark Gahey, they're getting better at the back. They're getting stronger defensively. You add that to a team that's starting to find their football, and then the penetration quality that they've got in the final third, and they look like now, mate, they can win every game. They look like they can win every game, but we'll see. We'll see whether that defensive...
Yeah, I just feel like they've got enough... It looks to me from earlier season that this team have got a little bit more steel about them now. Yeah. You're not going to break through as easy as you used to score before. But, it looks like it's going to be a great race, and we'll get an indicator, the Carabao Cup, 22nd of March, Sunday, 22nd of March, when Arsenal face City at Wembley. Let's go to one of the stories of the season that's forming, mate. We're going to give our props and love to Fulham and Marco Silva and his team, who continue to play good football, go under the radar, win games.
Good team, good manager, good players.
Good team.
Love it. Good story.
Know what they're doing. Yeah. Absolutely good story, and a couple of goals here in the game that from Wilson. Harry Wilson, what season he's having, and Alex Weber with a lovely finish from outside the box, a little side foot past Vicario in goal. Tottenham did come back. Richarlison got one back, came on as a sub and got one at 66 minutes, and huffed and puffed a little bit, but couldn't get the win. It's another defeat for Spurs. They're the only team in the Premier League yet to win in 2026. I think it's 10 without a win now in the Premier League. They've got a new manager called Igor Tudor. They haven't had a manager bounce.
Nope.
They don't look like they're particularly well set up. Oh. They don't look like they're particularly well happy. I thought the piece that you and Tim pulled out on the manager during the warm-up was insightful, Rob, to me, when I see that, and I see, and I'll have my own say on that. This is looking as bad as it could be for Spurs right now.
I mean, if they do the same 10 without a win, they go down. If they have the same for the next couple of months, they're going to go down. I mean, talk about awkward setup. I mean, you had in between a 3 and a back 4. I mean, overcomplicated. You got Conor Gallagher, who's a really good number 8, right? A central midfield player that can get forward, score a goal. He can work hard. He's playing on the right wing. You got Archie Gray, Rob, who's a right-footed midfield player playing at left wing back. I mean, you got Simmons playing wider. I mean, an awkward-looking setup. A setup that we saw that the manager wasn't happy with the way that they were warming up. Stinky performance, terrible in the first half, a bit better in the second half. I mean, what he looks like he's doing, Rob, is we use this phrase a lot, like sifting through what he's got. Sifting through what Richarlison and Solanke played. We have Xavi. Whereas I mean, he's like... You've got to be ready to go. You've got to be ready with the best optimum
when you say
system.
sifting, what you're... Sifting to see where players fit in certain places, or sifting to work out
who's the best 11.
Surely you've got to know that, haven't you?
You don't know it.
When you come into the football club, and you listen, if that takes you 5 or 6 games, by the way, you're in the bottom 3 and going underwater. If that's what his role is, Rob.
I'll tell you right now. You play a 4-3-3. It's right in front of him. Right now, granted, Jed Spence, I think had a problem, had a toe injury or a calf injury, something kept him up. That's a problem at left back, right? But if you're going to play, maybe you play Porro, you have a back 4. Your midfield is Palhinha, Basuma and Gallagher. There's your front, your midfield 3. And you have Solanke, Richarlison and Xavi Simmons. That 4-3-3 will get enough results to get it done for me. I mean, you want Jed Spence, you want a proper left back in there, which is not easy. But that's round pegs in round holes. You ain't got time to figure out clever little systems and complicate things. Crikey, I couldn't believe how disjointed, uncomfortable, clunky, and unmotivated. Even afterwards, Robbie said about... Because he's been running them. He's been running them this week with bleep tests.
Well, that's where I was going to go, based on your 4-3-3 and the setup and that, which I don't disagree. Let me tell you something that I know and experience. If you have no connection with the guy in charge, if the guy in charge comes into your dressing room and starts throwing around that we're not fit enough, we need to put petrol in the thing. By the way, if that is the case, and maybe it is or maybe it isn't, do your job, Igor. You don't have to tell us. You don't have to make it a public knowledge. Or it's almost like blaming the ex-manager because they can't do what I want to do. It looks to me, based on that warm-up that you threw out, Rob, and the piece of him having to almost motivate the players, like there's no connection.
He's saying wake up. He's saying wake up.
There is no connection. There is no relationship. We've seen him last week, wasn't it, trying to get the back four up. Mickey van der Ven looked across and looked as if to say, we had a manager at Wimbledon who came in late in when we got relegated,
I remember.
who had no relationship with the players, who couldn't motivate the players, who put no belief. Our preparation was poor, and on the weekend, mate, people couldn't get out of the jog. There was a malaise about a Wimbledon team that had been born out of closing the ball and having some life. This guy looks to me, and listen, I don't say you've got to be a great communicator. I don't say, listen, the other ways don't work. But if you don't have any kind of feel for the guy who's sitting there in your dressing room telling you this and that, and you don't believe in half he says, and he's not convincing, you've got a problem. And that's exactly where Tottenham Hotspur are now, Rob. I'm telling you, when you see manager on the side of the pitch and you see players look across and almost like raise their eyes as if to say, oh, here he goes again. And he's putting out like, I need to put more petrol in the tank. This team aren't fit enough. That old one about not being fit enough. Okay, maybe they're not. Well, get to work. You've had a full week to do some work. It's as good a players as they have, Rob, and as good a system or as better system that they could change, unless that changes in the dressing room and there's a bit of sort of belief comes into there, they are bang in trouble.
I'll tell you what, two things, Rob, to finish this off, right? Who recruited Thomas Frank initially, and who recruited Igor Tudor? Now, I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not sure it's fair to throw out names. We know names of directors of football, etc. at Tottenham. I don't really know who makes that final call. That person has to be held accountable for what's going on right now with selecting coaches for this team. And the other side of it, Thursday, everybody that's listening to this, please tune in to watch Tottenham Hotspur at home against Crystal Palace on Thursday.
Wow.
That game is everything. After that, they got a tough little run. They got actually Champions League. I mean, they got Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, and they got Liverpool is after Palace. So Palace at home, Rob. If Spurs somehow find a way to lose that game, right, then I think he could go. I think they could say this is a mistake. I hold their hands up. We're getting in. We're going to get in a Tim Sherwood or a Ryan Mason,
Harry Redknapp,
I mean, somebody just to put
bring a bit of life to this thing.
Is that crazy to say that, Rob? If they lose these two games,
I'm 100% with you.
This is desperate
if they
times.
lose that game, and this hasn't worked, mate. This hasn't worked, and the problem for me is that this hasn't worked. So do I trust them to go and find the right guy in the summer who will work? Because if this is the basis on what they go, they haven't read the tea leaves well, mate. The Tottenham Hotspur, let me tell you, might stay up because they all line these three worst teams. But right now, if I'm looking down at the bottom of the table, West Ham United, Nottingham Forest, and Leeds United are all playing better and better 100%. Suited than Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah. And they got 29 points, Robbie Earle. And we think it's going to be around 36, 37 points. I don't know where them points are coming from. They got to get another 7 or 8, maybe 7 or 8 points. 10 games to go. I don't know.
Yeah. And I tell you what's going to happen. I'll tell you right now what's going to happen with Tottenham Hotspur. They're going to win the Champions League, and they're going to be relegated to the Championship. That is just what Tottenham do. You know Tottenham. Wow. Look what Ange did last year. He won the Europa League after all that.
Yeah, amazing. So that was quite the story. Another 2-1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to some of the other games. I've kind of kept an eye on Manchester United Palace while the other games were going on. I have to admit, it was a bit of a lacklustre Manchester United to start. Didn't play with the same speed and intensity that we'd seen under Michael Carrick. But in a strange way, Rob, they sort of survived some moments. They maybe get a bit of fortune with the penalty kick. And then Palace down to 10 men.
Was that okay, the penalty, Rob? I mean, was that contentious for you, the red card?
A little contentious that his hand was on the shoulder, but
yeah, was there enough?
If you say, I don't know if there's enough to make him go down in the way he goes down and he goes down in the box, but I think once you then bring the Dogzo in, that he's probably going to get to the ball and he's denied the goal scoring opportunity, I think then it felt a bit thingy. Just to go, I have to do this, Rob, as well. Sorry about this. I have to go back for Tottenham because while we're all piling in and it's an easy target in some respects and whatever, I actually thought the Fulham first goal was a foul on Dragosan. You know, the push.
Oh, yeah.
I think, for me, Rob, if I'm a centre-back and I'm going... Now, they're saying it wasn't enough, the tariff wasn't high enough in terms of the physicality. Yeah. I'm telling you now, if you're jumping for a ball and I'm set my eyes to head it and somebody touches me with one hand, never mind two hands in my back, and that stops me heading and clearing the ball, and they score from it, I thought that was a really, really poor decision. And based on Spurs having won last week against Arsenal... when Gabriel went down and was it Moani wasn't allowed. Yeah. I thought that was a really poor call. And listen, Spurs haven't done lots of things well. And listen, we can have our criticisms of the manager and whatever's happening. But actually, I thought that the referee and VAR let them down there. I thought that was a really bad call. Because if I'm a centre-back and I get that ball out, they don't get the shot on goal. It's a different game.
No, it's a fair point, mate. And it's okay. I mean, I just thought, this whole thing about the referee's call, he didn't give it. And I'm thinking, is it a howler of a decision? I guess you thought it was, and I guess I
thought it was, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a fair point. And the fans are, they're absolutely right. I mean, this is all about these fine margins of sometimes. I mean, what we are seeing is when referees, their first call is being supported by the VAR, unless it's a real shocker. So we differ there a little bit, but I understand it. Yeah, I get it, and I think probably a lot of people agree with you, Rob, on that one. So good to bring it up. Yeah. So
anyway, United get the penalty. Bruno scores the goal. Sesko gets his 6 and 7 now for him in the Premier League. Having started the game, having normally come on as a sub. This time, happy to come off with maybe 15 minutes to go, which was nice for him. Kind of thinking of this one, Rob, and I was thinking of a bit like Igor Tudor's come in and I've seen what Michael Carrick's gone into a group. What do you think Ruben Amorim would be sitting at home? Do you think there's any regret for somebody like him? I know he's got his 10 million quid, so he's pretty happy.
I think he's got regrets, Rob. I think that if he didn't blow his top in the press conference, and he had a little bit more patience, I think the signs they were improving. Harry Maguire was coming back. Lisandro Martinez was, I think, back at that point. You got the guys back from AFCON. I'm not saying they'd be as good as they are right now, but I think the system does suit them better. And I've said before that I think the system can make a 20-25% difference to a team's performance if you have them in a really right system compared to one that's not. But so maybe he feels that he could have had him there as well, Rob. That's what I'm saying. He might feel he could have had him there. Yeah. But you talk about connection with the manager, Michael Carrick connecting with these players, with what they're saying. Again, this is in the middle of a window so I didn't study the game to see why. I just looked at the game a lot and Palace are on the front foot. They're pushing, they just seem to be frustrating Man United. But I said to the guys at Tudor, I said, Man United still win. They're in that fettle. In that confidence, and they got those front players. And Šeško, it's just amazing, isn't it? Isn't it amazing how things can change for one player? He looks a lethal finisher now. I think he's got the tools. He just didn't know whether he could bring it all together for this huge football club, and they continue to win. I mean, seeing them at third place now, Rob, that's fair play. Fair play
It's incredible, by the way.
Yeah, and I said on the show, we had Gary Neville on the show and stuff, and I know that I was asked first about Carrick, and I said, you know what? If they finish a strong third place, you've got to give them the job. And Gary was like, I'm not quite there yet. He said, I might be if it continues going this way. He kind of talked about the best in class. And, I did a little bit looking at the odds for the, it's a long list of potential managers at Man United. I'm like, I don't know if there's anybody there that's going to really, if they finish a strong third, you've got to see it through. It's not just Michael Carrick, it's Steve Holland, who's a very experienced coach. His right-hand man, his assistant manager. And I think they make a
And
compelling
Woodgate
case right
apparently
now.
is playing his part, and
Woodgate,
Johnny Evans has been working on the set pieces. You're right, and the other thing that I think with Manchester United, Rob, between now and the end of the season, this is the important part for Carrick. If he can keep this momentum going, and listen, there might be the odd defeat or the odd draws in there, but if he keeps that momentum going, and I was one of those who said, if Michael Carrick wins all 17 of his games, you've got to keep him away from it. And, a little tongue-in-cheek. But I'm saying, if this club has got some momentum, it's started to build some momentum, why would you want to stop that in any way and go back to zero again and have to start again? You'd almost say, well, let's keep pushing, Mike. Here's a 2-year deal, and let's see how it. And you know what I mean.
And if it doesn't materialise, and they go backwards a little bit, then okay, but we've seen it through.
Correct.
I mean, there's the future,
and we've seen how these players can look good and how these players can win, which also sort of bears into the next person. And just before we go, Robin, and you've talked about, I'm going to go for my underappreciated performer of the week, and it's Benjamin Sesko.
Oh, right.
It's Benjamin Sesko at $99 million, Rob. 22-year-old Slovenian who's started to find the goals a little bit easier, bit more confidence. Obviously, Michael Carrick's didn't work. Don't know if you saw some on social media. There was a little video of him doing some extra training where he'd ran from one end of the one goal box to the other to score a goal, very like the goal he scored last weekend against Everton. And I was just thinking, Rob, there was two things I thought. This kid's got a lot of tools, has scored goals. He's 22 years of age. I remember when I was 22 years of age, I was playing at Port Vale, one of the local clubs. I knew everybody. I was comfortable. Obviously, the language, as you say, it was just about me developing my game. And at 22, I was starting to just maybe make some moves. This kid's come to a new country. Obviously, whether there's language issues, his English seems pretty good. He was playing in a different system. He's been bought for $99 million to go in at Manchester United that was dysfunctional under the other manager. And he's starting to show that he could be somebody who could be around for the next 5-6 years. And the other thing I wanted to do, mostly, was just to because I thought, 22 years of age, okay, and he's starting to show some signs of Premier. Let me look who else is 22 years of age. Florian Wirtz is 22 years of age. It's probably in the last 6 weeks started to show us what he was about, was had a struggle. Harvey Elliott, who left Liverpool, is 22 years of age. Liam Delap, who's at Chelsea, is 22 years of age. James McAtee is 22 years of age. So at 22 years of age, there's a lot of decent players who's still growing and still finding their feet. It's just that this guy's at Manchester United. He's $99 million, the spotlight's on him, and then it's a team that's not particularly playing well and creating chances.
Very good, mate. Very good. Yeah, I can't argue with that. It's really good. I think we give credit to Michael Carrick. Actually, and Šeško after the last game was interviewed, and he said, I want to start, but I'm okay. I want to help this team wherever I can. If that's 5 minutes, that's fine. And to be fair to Michael Carrick, Rob, I wonder what he's been doing, him and Steve Holland, to work with this player, because he hasn't started. He's come off the bench. He's scored them almost every time he's come off the bench recently, and he earned his start, and he played well today, scored a goal. So, again, he seems very happy now, because there was the rumours about him not being happy, and he was difficult around the training ground. So maybe Carrick's just taking him out of the starting lineup, out of the kind of the main fire, to sort of work with him a little bit.
That's man management, isn't it, mate? That's the bit I'm saying Igor Tudor. That's the bit I'm saying Liam Messina. That's sometimes knowing what buttons you got to press with people.
It's gold if you can do that. Yeah, so well done, Man United, brilliant. I mean, it's amazing to see the change right now. All right,
there's a big West Midlands derby on Friday. Wolves, Aston Villa. Know this area well and know this game. Wolves 2, Villa 0. Gomez with the first goal. Gomez with the second goal. There's plenty of Gomez's at Wolves, but another step in the right direction for Rob Edwards. Obviously, Wolves are going to go, but you feel like he's building a little bit of momentum and something into the Championship next year. For Villa, that's a blow, Rob, isn't it? They've just become a little bit inconsistent in the wrong time of the season.
Yeah, and it's difficult, isn't it, with Villa, with the European games as well. The squad hasn't been as good. When I look back over the injury, I look back over the last few weeks. A lot of their midfield like talent.
Key players
have been
yeah.
out. McGinn's been out.
Yeah.
Tielemans been out. Boubacar Kamara's been out. And I feel like Villa's kind of... And we know the little narrow system they play, and I like it. And Rodgers is the way he looks into it. If that's not in place for a period of time, I think it starts to hurt them a little bit. You know, Watkins is I don't know. He's not looked great this season, and it's a blow for them. So that they'll now feel they're hanging on a little bit to finish in the top 4 or 5. You know, the other clubs around them will feel like
catching up, aren't they?
Catching up a little bit. I think with Wolves, Rob, right? And fair play to Rob Edwards.
Yeah.
And maybe we're being like Debbie Downers here. Is it okay to go mental in celebrations like that? And I mean, they are going down.
I think because of the derby, and I read some of the Wolves fans, said there's a couple of things that can keep them, make them feel happier this season, beat Aston Villa and that. So it's I don't know if they're those personal things where, they're colloquial and local teams against each other.
Robin. He's got them going.
Yeah, he has got them going. And I think he's building a relationship with the fans. I think he's trying to get the fans on side.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough challenge getting out of the Championship next year. There's no guarantee. He didn't do particularly well when he went down with Luton, so he's got to make sure he hits the ground running and keep some of them players. And this kid Mane, Rob, looks a player, doesn't he? There's talk that one or two of the big boys are already looking at him, and there's a thought that somebody could buy him and maybe loan him back to Wolves, go and play. But looks a clever player. He's a good find and one that would do well. You'd think certainly in the Championship. If not, somebody making a move.
Gomez as well in there. If a team gets relegated, there's always one or two or three that get picked off.
Yeah, he's a good little player. I've always liked him, mate.
Yeah, Brazil, real good little player. So well done to Wolverhampton Wanderers and Villa. See if they can come again. Liverpool 5, West Ham United 2. Another game with an amazing amount of set pieces, goals from corner kicks. The first 3 from Liverpool were, I think there's a deflection on the next goal for Gakpo, and there's an own goal from Dizazi. My comment afterwards, Rob, and I want to see what you think to it, was good result, poor performance from Liverpool, even though it's 5-2. Is that too harsh?
Yeah. A little. Good win. Good, 5 goals. Okay performance. I wouldn't say poor. I didn't think they were poor, but I didn't think they were great. I just thought they were okay. And if okay gets you 5 goals and brings a bit of confidence into the group, I'm kind of okay with that. But they can certainly be better. It wasn't like a great performance and brilliant. And in some way, that's where Liverpool are. They're a bit more like Arsenal, not quite playing as fluent. A game whether Viet's missing is a little part of that. I don't know. His sort of smooth connections on as much. Salah doesn't quite look on top of his game as we've known him in the past.
Like, where's he going, Salah? What's happening here? This is continuing.
We're going to get to the summer. We're going to get to the summer, and then I think we're going to have a rethink, and the rethink might be sort of looking in the Saudi League, or there's even talk of MLS looking at somebody who might be prepared to pay a certain amount of money. Maybe the fallout and all that's gone on. It just feels like there might be a parting between the two.
29
which
goals
is a shame. He's been a brilliant player.
Way down on his performance. 4 goals, 6 assists compared to 29 goals, 18 assists.
He just looks a different personality as well, Rob. Something about him doesn't just look right. Doesn't look. Maybe it's the confidence or something. I'm not sure.
But they're still there. They're still there in 5th place.
Still there.
3 points behind Aston Villa.
Absolutely, picking up points, and with the games coming thick and fast now, chance to secure one of them Champions League spots. Another team that moved, we're looking for a Champions. Well, actually, let's go to the game of the weekend. Actually, first, I was jumping ahead.
Jeez. Yeah, crazy.
Burnley 3, Brentford 4. Could well have been 4-4, although despite it, and it was a handball. I thought from Ashley Barnes with the late goal, but Damsgaard with a couple, Thiago having a Thiago type goal, and Sade with the goals for Brentford, Coyote with the own goal, Anthony with my strike, and Fleming with a header. Fleming also thought he'd scored another when somebody was offside in the build-up play to that. I mean, 7 goals, incredible game. Brentford get all the points. Burnley show they've got spirit about them and can try and get into the game. I think it was the right result. I think you called it right, and VAR did see that Ashley Barnes.
Yeah, I mean,
did catch his arm.
Yeah, I mean, I had some Burnley fans message me and social media me, Rob, and basically their point was, and I hear it, like, was it definitive? Like they're saying, I don't know. Was there a definitive angle? And there probably wasn't a real definitive angle that it hit his arm. It just looked very likely. The way the ball dropped down. I think in the UK, Rob, in the analysis shows there, I think there's a little bit of like, I don't know about that.
Give a bit more advantage. Yeah,
well, they're like, I'm not sure there was a strong handball. So sometimes the angles that we get and all the slow motion, and maybe I suppose if there's some kind of doubt, that's what the Burnley fans are saying. If there's some sort of doubt, you can't give it. And on the field,
I mean, I was gutted for Burnley and gutted for Bournemouth, but I got to be honest. When I was watching it, as soon as I watched it and him celebrate, I thought, I think that's it. His hand.
I know. I did too.
That was my first thought before anything. Before even it went to VAR and they looked, was like, oh, the way that's come to him. It just looked like
it just dropped down.
Yeah, how's that dropped down into his foot so easy? It looked like it caught his arm. Now, like you say, it's not definitive. It's just a shame because it would have made an even greater story and whatever. And do you know what? I remember the referee on that one. That like even the ref looked slightly embarrassed to have to give it. As if like, I know, it would have been a great story, but I've got to do what I've been told to do and what VAR are instructing me. So, it was a shame, and it looks inevitable that Burnley are going to be, the second team in the Championship with Wolverhampton Wanderers. But those again showed a good spirit in a way about them, and Scotty Parker's kept saying, that there's a resilience to this group that we'll never know when they're beaten, and that's what's going to hold them in good stead.
Do you think it's been the right call to keep Scotty Parker and not switch the manager there? They've kept with him, and I like it.
I do, mate. I kind of do, and I think that they'll go down, and he's got a good record of bringing people up and not letting people, get too down on things. So, I think it's right. And then, if he does manage to bring him up, I think it's then the time to say, come on then, now we've got to
learn last time. Get some different players,
we've got
some new players.
Look at Sunderland and look at what Leeds have done, and maybe look at that as a bit of a blueprint.
Yeah.
Okay, mate, I'm going to go to St James's quickly, moving on, because things aren't great there for Eddie Howe and his team. I think they sit in 13th place in the league now. Sunderland just above them at the moment. 3 straight home defeats in the league for Newcastle. 3-2 defeat to Everton. Another crazy game. Early goals with Brentford getting a header. Ramsey with the equaliser. Beto, 2 minutes later, puts Everton ahead. Murphy comes on as a sub, smashes one in. And then Tino Barry knew very little about the ball that hit his back and found the back of the net. But Everton come away with a victory. And kind of, I saw Eddie Howe after, and, there's a few kind of murmurs about Eddie Howe and, the usual line, has he taken them as far as he can and all that kind of stuff. I think, like anything, European football and the demands of the league catch up teams like Newcastle. I would say Villa to a certain degree. They're another, they're just not deep enough, mate.
I think when you see Newcastle United in 13th place, given what they did last year, and I just wonder, Rob, like, even Eddie Howe, right? I think he's a brilliant manager. Does after so many years of asking, going back to the well and asking these players to keep performing with that intensity that we know that they play with when they're at their very best, is at some point, and it sounds a little harsh, but does the message wear thin a little bit with the players? Does it is it where he's like, I've done as much as I can with this group, somebody else might do better going forward? I mean, I don't even like bringing it up, but, where they are, I mean, they're still in Champions League. They got past Karabag comfortably on aggregate, so they're in a great spot in the Champions League, and that will keep the team going. I mean, the St James's Park can be absolutely bouncing for these knockout games in that competition. But is there anything to Eddie Howe that's like...
I hear you, and it's an interesting point. I kind of think, again, you try and think back to career and days when we would be at it, is like, when you're at it, you've got to be physically and mentally in a good place to really do that and play at intensity and the speed, and have the running stats and all that. And sometimes if you're physically a little tired or mentally not in the right place, it manifests itself in not being able to do those things well. Now, I just wonder whether it's keep asking the same players to do the same thing too many times is the problem. Yeah. And maybe he needs a bigger group to be able to, do what Arsenal do and do what Man City do and maybe Liverpool can do and bring in similar quality rather than the drop-off that we know now. If certain players aren't playing, that this team are going to be in trouble.
Fair play to Everton, mate. I mean, what save from Jordan Pickford, by the way? The save from the Sandro Tonali volley. I mean,
save of the decade, mate. I mean, incredible
came through
save.
So quickly. To get his hand up and tip it onto the bar was amazing. I mean, fair play to Everton, right? David Moyes, when he first came into that club, right, when they were struggling down at the bottom and looking at relegation being pretty, possible, he said, I want this team to be looking up. I want this team to be on the edge of Europe, looking that end of the table. And at that time, it's like, wow, that feels like a long way away.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, they're there. They're 8th. They're 40 points. 7th's probably going to be European football. So they're right there. And they are doing that. And they are looking at European football. And they are looking at the top end of the table and not over their shoulder.
And he did it at West Ham, mate, didn't he? He did a similar thing at West Ham.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, whether you call it old school, whatever you call it, basics, not overcomplicated. He knows how to get the job done. He knows how to motivate, keep a team at it. I mean, to St James's Park to win that game, fair play. Brilliant win for Everton.
Absolutely. Just moving on quickly, so Brighton 2, Forest 1. Forest couldn't quite get a victory, which would have put pressure on Tottenham. Brighton with Gomez with the goal, Gibbs White with a lovely strike. 30 minutes then, Danny Welbeck a couple of minutes later turns and hits one really nice, a lovely goal to put Brighton 2-1 ahead, and Brighton starting to put a few performances together now. So Forest unable to make any ground up on the teams at the bottom there, and Bournemouth 1, Sunderland 1. My ender with the first goal, and Evan Nielsen with the equaliser came on as a sub for Bournemouth. Bournemouth continue to get a couple of results as well, and I know there's somebody at Bournemouth that caught your eye, mate. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't really appreciate it early on, but one to watch. I've had my eye on this player for a few times now. Alex Jimenez. He came from AC Milan. I think he's on loan.
Yeah.
I think he's on loan. I think there's an option to buy him. I'm not sure about that. He came from AC Milan. I just like him, Rob. He's 20 years of age. He's quick. He's one of them players that gets the ball as a fullback and he runs with it, and his little legs go a million miles an hour. and he passes the ball well. He's good one-on-one. He's got technical ability. He's got good decision-making where he uses the ball from a right back really well. It's important that the fullbacks really use it well because they get a ton of the ball. I just think he's one to watch. I think if you're a bigger club, and it's the same sort of, I mean, we saw it on the other side of the field with Milos Kerkez that went to Liverpool. I see the same sort of quality in that position on the other side that a big club might say, let's keep an eye on him, Alex Jimenez. We've got to keep a real... I mean, we know that Bournemouth, like Brentford, like Brighton, know what they're doing in recruitment. They bring in players. They make them into very sellable assets to bigger clubs for big fees. I just think Alex Jimenez, he's got bleached blonde hair. You're not going to miss him. So anybody out there, the neutral fans or whatever, next time you watch Bournemouth, have a look for the right back, Alex Jimenez. I think he's going to be he's an interesting little player, mate. He's feisty, quick, and he got a bit of quality. There you go.
Well, yeah, I was sticking under underappreciated Bournemouth recruitment team hat actually, because in the last 3-4 years, mate, what they've brought into that football club and sold,
particularly forwards,
has been incredible and kept them going. All right, mate, that's it for match week 28, when the top two get harder in victories to keep the title race bubbling. As we march into March, we'll be back on Tuesday, that's March the 5th, with another full week of fixtures, some really important games. Villa taking on Chelsea, Manchester City host Forest, Arsenal travel to the Amex, Manchester United go to St James's Park, and Spurs and Palace is must watch, is must win for Tottenham. All that to come, but for now I'm Earle, he's Mustoe, together with the two Robbies. Thanks for watching and listening. Be safe, stay healthy. It's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.
Good night.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.